Today I'm joined by Alan Rogan, the athletic director of Lakeland College, and he is here today to talk about how some of the Lakeland College wrestlers teams are going to be traveling internationally and throughout Canada for the Christmas break. And so thank you so much for being with me today, Alan.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, Alan, so let's start with the women's hockey team. I've mentioned it a few times in my stories, but they are going down to Arizona State. So talk to me about how head coach Morgan Mann and the rest of the team and you guys were able to get that set up to go down to Arizona State for a few exhibition games.
Yeah, so the Coach Mann and the hockey group, they kind of reached out down in the States and just looking for exhibition games and experiences that some of our student athletes probably won't have in their life probably. So they were able to line up some games down in Arizona over basically in early part of the new year before things get really busy for school and back into the regular season. So they're taking the entire team down there with their coaching staff, and whenever we can send our students to compete in competitions that are not like our regular season, it's an experience that, like I said, many probably haven't even left the country, and which seems kind of odd sometimes, but for some of these kids it'll be an experience they're going to remember for a lifetime, and they get to play some against some hockey teams that are in the U.S. to see what the caliber of hockey is like down there.
And so you've also mentioned now that the basketball teams are going to be heading elsewhere during the Christmas break. Just talk to me about where they're heading and the experiences they will see.
Yeah, so our basketball teams are going to be jumping on a bus, and they're going to be, between Christmas and New Year's, they're going to be heading down to Montana. They're going to be competing against, I believe, 3 institutions down in Montana on over a 4-day period. Once again, they get to compete against some basketball institutions in the U.S. and get to see how they compare to some of these U.S. schools. And when you go on a trip that long, it's always you always want to try and turn it into a positive team building experience as well. You're going to be in a bus for a while and traveling down the road. So, anytime, like I said, you can play against some teams you normally don't play against is a really positive experience for our student athletes, and like I said, those kind of trips they usually remember for a very long time. So.
And then finally, the women's volleyball team is heading back out to BC after that national championship win. Just talk to me about that experience in heading out to Victoria.
Yeah, so our women's volleyball team first week in January is going to be heading out to Victoria. They're going to be competing against some teams in the BC Conference, Pac West. Next to Alberta, Pac West is probably one of the, historically one of the stronger women's volleyball conferences in the country. So, Coach Dyer's going to be able to have his team compete against some pretty solid competition out in BC there in that first week of January, and get them all prepared to, on a playoff run to hopefully return back to nationals this year. They're going to be hosted in Red Deer, and then hopefully repeat as national champions, but there's a lot to go before we get there. But once again, I'm pretty sure that's probably our goal for sure, and to compete against some of the top teams is a way to prepare for that. So.
And so finally, Alan, just talk to me about how you guys are sending Lakeland College abroad, whether it's in Canada or down into the States, and just how important it is to be able to show off the program to various other schools and make sure that you guys represent not only Lloydminster and Vermilion well, but just Alberta in general in the ACAC.
Yeah, so like I said, sending our teams when we send our teams into different places, whether we send them outside the province or into the U.S. or other countries, it's an experience. It's also a recruitment tool for us to some degree, where if we can give those student athletes an opportunity to go and compete against other teams in other countries or other parts of the world, so it's an incredible experience. And it's also a cultural piece where they get to go and see how people live in different parts of the world. It's not easy. They have to go out and fundraise all the money to go on these trips. It's not money that the college basically allocates for our teams. So, our teams are out raising money for all of these exhibition opportunities early in the season and prior to coming to Lakeland. But in our coach's mind and for our student athletes, the extra effort, the extra time is worth the investment. So they go out and they raise the funds to head out onto these trips, and it's a great experience for these student athletes that, like I said, they'll probably remember for a lifetime.
Awesome. Well, it's very good to hear that the Lakeland Wrestlers are going to be having some great experiences over the Christmas break, and we will definitely catch up with them after those awesome experiences, whether it's in Victoria or down in the States. And so we will have more Lakeland College Wrestlers action once they return from Christmas break coming up in the new year.